Hey everybody from Dragon the Line podcast. I'm Jesse Sanchez, and joining me now on Zoom is singer, songwriter, and host of her own podcast.
Porsche Maka.
Now, before we get started, if you can discuss a little bit about your artistic career along with your podcast, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. I was an artist before I started my podcast. I've been learning Indian classical music since I was 5 years old. I was born here but brought up in India. I got the best of both worlds, I think. And yeah, learning about different sounds and different kinds of music, growing up around a totally different landscape of music was quite interesting. And I feel like when I came back here, I had so much more that I had learned about music and so many sounds that I had in my head because of just having this diverse upbringing. Yeah, I started writing when I was 11 years old. And none of the songs I wouldn't want anybody to listen to those songs from that period of time. It's
Uh-huh.
quite embarrassing. But I just loved it. And I think I found my love for writing quite early on. And yeah, I got accepted to Berklee College of Music about 2 years ago. 2019 fall was when I started. And yeah, around that time was when I started writing seriously and started thinking about putting out my music. And my first single came out last year, September. And then my second single came out this year, March beginning. Oh, Feb beginning. Sorry about that. And my podcast just came along the way. I'm like, hey, I'm an independent artist. I would love to have a platform like this where I can talk about my art, things that matter to me the most, and just be unfiltered and talk about things about the industry, my journey, and all of that. And I felt that something like that was lacking. There weren't enough platforms that were giving artists that were growing, artists in their really initial stages of their career, just this platform to voice their opinions and talk about their work. Because sometimes it's just so hard to get through to certain blogs and certain podcasts that are considered credible. So I wanted to create that sort of ecosystem, and that's how podcasting started. I was quite bad at it at the beginning. I'm still learning on the job, but yeah, it's quite fun. It's been very rewarding. I've met some really amazing people, gotten to know their stories and their journey. I think it's inspired me so much to be the artist that I am, and it's added so much to my own personality. I take a lot away from each of those episodes, and yeah, it's been great.
Got you. Now, with the pandemic, you stated in an article that you've grown artistically, and you also even managed to write some current music. In that article that I read, it also mentioned that you're learning how to produce your music, and the first single that you released, is it Valley, or is that your...
Yeah.
Okay? And what's the second one? Tell me a little bit about the single.
Yeah, that's called Anomaly, and that's, I think, by far the most different that I've ever written. It's quite outside of my kind of writing style that I usually have. It doesn't have the normal song form like a verse, chorus, and a bridge sort of thing. It's just 1 minute of just material, and then it just like ends before it. And it's about schizophrenia, which is something that I've been wanting to talk about. I was a psychology student in high school, so that's something I've learned about, something that's really intrigued me. And just creating this world where like I'm getting into the headspace of a schizophrenic, the hallucinations, all of the things that go on in their mind, their fears. There's just so much to that disorder, and I don't know if I've done justice, but it definitely was very interesting creating the artwork for that song, just creating even the production for the song. I'm the co-producer on the song. Most of the sounds and everything were my own samples that I used, that I searched, and I handpicked them to create this really hallucinatory world for Anomaly. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Now, let's talk about the creative process whenever you come up with your single. Do you come up with the lyrics first, or do you have to hear the beat?
I actually start with the lyrics first. I'm a poet, and I've actually been writing poems for longer than I can remember. And it always starts with the lyric because I'm always feeling a certain way. I'm always thinking about something, and I just articulate that. And yeah, and then the tune starts to come in because like I understand the mood after I write the lyric, and then the tunes start to flow in. But for Anomaly, it was quite different because I had the beat down, I had the basic elements of the production down, and the lyrics were the last. Because I'd created this eerie kind of song, and I was like, what do I write about? And then I was like, okay, schizophrenia. And I just watched this video, this TED Ed video of hallucinations and schizophrenia and all of that. And I think my head just went into that zone and I started writing, and it was, yeah, that was like my process for that song was totally upside down of what I usually have.
From the other songs that you've done, I know that growing up, you're master almost in the what's the type of piano? Classical music. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've taught myself classical piano, but I was actually learning electronic keyboard as well. So I was doing like Trinity exams for that. Yeah, growing up.
Now, since you're in Berkeley now, are there? I know the path wasn't easy, but is there any challenges that currently in the 2 years that you've been there that you had to overcome?
Internal challenges, yeah, quite a few internal challenges. Being in a school of such talented people, I think because where I come from, I was probably one of the very, very few people who was serious about music and who pursued music like this. So there wasn't, I wouldn't say competition, but there wasn't that fast paced environment around me where everybody is so good at what they do. And it's an amazing environment to be in. But when I came in, it was just so overwhelming, I feel. And I remember breaking down like during the first 3 days of my college. I was like, where am I? I just imagine, oh, I just walk in and I'd be the star. I'd be such an amazing musician. And I think it was good that I went through that. It was a very humbling experience. You're as good as anybody here, and you really need to work your way up. And I think that's honestly, if you ask me as a musician, that's actually where my journey began, because I started unlearning so many things. I just broke all this ego and anything that I just had in me. I just let it go. And yeah, that's when I guess I was able to create better.
Currently, are you working on a album, or right now you're just focusing more on doing the singles or producing?
I don't know, because I've written about like 10 to 15 songs that I've written, and I'm constantly writing. There is scope for an album or an EP or just singles. I'm a really moody person. I'm very spontaneous. Valley, my first single, was actually I was going through my Logic sessions and I just found this song. I was like, oh, I made this like a few months ago. I was like, I think I'm ready to release this. Like, I produced it, and I think I didn't feel like I needed to add anything more to it. And that night, I realized I wanted to release it, and that very night I put it up. That's spontaneous that song was.
So you produce music and you're doing a podcast and the editing. Which one comes to you more natural?
Definitely, I think music,
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's my comfort zone. I've been doing it for a while now. Speaking in front of a camera or speaking to somebody, being engaging is definitely something I'm learning. But I honestly, I think it's like they're tied, because I guess as a musician, you're also like an entertainer of sorts. So it's all in the entertainment area. So they're all like tied into each other. And I love speaking, so it's great.
Now, what advice would you give someone that's wanting to pursue a musical career?
I guess I'm just learning. I need advice. But maybe one thing I'd say is just let go of your ego.
That's very well said, by the way. Now, I wanted to switch gears and talk about now your podcast. How many episodes have you done?
I just started it like late last year, like December of last year. So not too many. I think I've done about 7 to 8 episodes.
Or some of the episodes that I listened to, a lot of them are artists like yourself. And something that I liked that caught my eye caught my ear, because I'm listening, was the breakdown of the music and the musician and how culturally it's affecting someone and how you'll be able to express your background. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And was that the purpose of the podcast?
Yeah, actually, it's a little bit of both. I think I was just like walking with my dad one day, And like I was feeling like I was stagnating. And I think with the whole change in Instagram's algorithm, it's hard sometimes to understand and track your engagement and all of that. And how do you be more engaging with your followers on Instagram? And like everybody is trying to find their own way to be more engaging, to have more people engage with their content on social media and all of these platforms. Because that's all we have right now because of the pandemic. So I think this was my way. I decided that I wanted to create a community. I think what I've realized more and more with the pandemic and with how things are changing with social media, there is nothing like individual success. You cannot succeed on your own. It's very difficult. You need to collaborate. You need to create a community that will support you. Even the Instagram algorithm is designed in that way that when more people share your post with other people, put it on their story, send it to their family and friends, that's when your post starts getting more engagement. So if you don't have that community, you're not building that connection and that engagement with people. So this was my way to connect with people in my own space and create a community or be part of a community and say that, hey, we're all in this together. We're sharing our stories and journeys and experiences. And it was a learning experience. I did not expect it to be a learning experience for me, but it was. And I guess that's the beautiful part.
Now, before we go, where can the listeners and others connect with you if, let's say, they want to do a collaboration in music or be a guest on your show?
They can email me on. There's on my Instagram. There's a thing where you can like email. So yeah, you can email me. Yeah. Right. Or you can send me a DM on Instagram. I'm quite active. I reply to all messages on Instagram. So yeah, those are the two main platforms that I use to interact with people. So I'm pretty active on both.
What's your Instagram handle?
Prithvi Prakash, PritsPrakash.
Okay. All right. Now, before I let you go, I'm going to put you on the spot. Quick questions, quick answers. All right. All right. Here we go. Who is someone that you want to collaborate with musically?
So he's an Indian composer. His name's A.R. Rahman, a huge idol of mine.
On your podcast, who would you like to interview? Can't be the same person. Can't be, that'd be cheating.
Okay, there are a lot of people. So there's an independent artist that I really like. I think they're from one's from Denmark and the other's from India. They're a duo. They make experimental music. Anhad and Tanner. And there's probably, who else? Cleo, a good friend of mine. She's a New York-based singer-songwriter, producer, extremely cool human being. Yeah, these are a few people that I'd love to interview.
Gotcha. Are there any celebrities that inspire you whenever you're doing your music?
No.
No? Okay.
I know that, I don't know how that comes across, but I think I'm very in my own bubble. I'm not too aware of who's doing what and kind of thing. But lately, I think, yeah, actually Phineas, Billie Eilish's producer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's someone that I really admire and find his production quite interesting. So that his process really inspires me. But apart from that, I don't know if any other celebrity really like inspires me. I'm just sort of doing my own thing.
That's a good thing though. Artistically, you have your own type of style and maybe you create something, maybe you start a genre. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Maybe Titanium by Sia.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's quite a few. The last question is, what songs do you have on repeat at the moment?
Ariana Grande's album, I really like her new album. When I'm working out, I love listening to it because it's fast paced and I can work out to it. But in terms of like stuff that I admire that I've been listening to, there are a lot of independent artists in India. The Local Train, they're a band from India. They're amazing. They're an alt rock band. They're amazing. Then a friend of mine, Cash, he's an ambient producer. He recently got signed to Found Red Records. Yeah, and he's amazing. I listened to his stuff too quite a lot. Who else? I'm thinking. Yeah, I try to find a lot of independent artists and listen to their music.
Yeah, I live in Austin, Texas, so there's a lot of independent artists that are in town that play live, and sometimes I enjoy it, but now with the pandemic, it's hard to go to those type of places. Now, was there anything that I didn't ask quickly that you may want the listeners to know?
I guess just follow me on Spotify, follow me on Instagram. My Spotify is Prithvi Prakash, And my Instagram is at, just feel free to follow me, check my music out. I have a YouTube channel as well where I do covers sometimes and put my originals out there as well.
You know what? It was actually a pleasure. I do want to do this again. We'll come back and maybe talk more about after the pandemic
That'd
and
be
more
good.
on the podcast aspects. But again, I really do appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
You have a great day.
You too. See you.
Take
Bye.
it. Bye.